guys, this is Jessica. Welcome back to my channel, The Retro Farmhouse. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how we do our composting. We actually have two different systems for how we do that depending on the type of composting that we're doing. And the first one that I want to talk about is our composting box system that we use here with our pallets right behind me. This is really easy. Anybody can do it. You can find pallets for free in a lot of places. The only thing that you want to make sure of is that when you're getting your pallets that they have a mark on them of HT. That means heat treated. You don't want ones that are saying anything else because you don't know what kind of chemicals or anything have been on that, and you don't want that leaching into your compost soil. So we just have four pallets here that we have taken and just tied together with some hay string. That way we can take them apart easily. We can move them wherever. You also want to have this maybe at a corner of your property, maybe in your backyard in a corner. You can really do this anywhere. You don't want to put it too far away because this is a spot that you're going to be visiting often to be putting your compost in. It's a place that's easy to get to. So some people have some systems, which we will probably build later, where they have maybe a 3-box system or a 2-box system where they have it right beside of each other. And those are really convenient because you can start your compost pile in one area, then you can flip it to the next box to kind of aerate it, and then flip it to the third, and usually by the time it gets there, it's, you know, the compost is nice and black and crumbly. We tend to just do this because it's easier for right now. We do flip ours after probably 3 to 4 months. There are some different other types of systems that you can do where you can actually get a compost thermometer. I'll put a link below. If you're wanting to do this method, this is just where you can try to get your compost to heat up to a certain degree, and that's going to help multiply the bacteria, which is going to break down all of those nutrients and different items so that it makes compost a lot faster. Usually if you're going to do that, you want your degrees to be somewhere between 100 to I think 140 degrees. We don't do that method. We just kind of throw this in here and leave it for a couple months and then kind of flip it, and then we use it on our gardens. But pretty much either method works just the same. If you're wanting to do it a little bit faster, I would definitely recommend the thermometer method. We also have another pile that we have in our pasture field that's just a pile where we put our horse manure. Horse manure is one that you want to tend to break down a little bit more over time. So some of the research that I found is that it breaks down within can break down within 3 to 4 months. It's kind of varies out there what you read. We kind of just like to clean our stall areas, put that right there, let it sit for like 5 months, flip it, let it sit for a little bit longer. So those compost piles we don't tend to use for another 8 months or so. But this one you can definitely use it a little bit faster. So how do you compost? Some of the things that you put in here are combinations of nitrogen and carbon and moisten it. So what I mean by that is carbon items can be wood chips, cardboard, paper items. Nitrogen items can be grass clippings, weeds, vegetable matter, things that you have from your kitchen. And I kind of just do it as a layering system. If I'm coming out here to dump some nitrogen type items or maybe my kitchen scraps, I usually have some wood chips that we get for free from a local company, and I'll dump a little bit of that on top. And so I'm kind of making a layer upon layer back and forth. And when you do that, you do want to maybe have a hose nearby that you can kind of moisten it. You don't want to completely saturate it, but kind of moisten it. We don't have to do that here because we live in a really wet climate. So, you know, it just kind of naturally does that for us. But you want to kind of think of it as like making a lasagna. So it's going to be one layer over the other, and that's going to eventually help to break down. If you ever have a time where your compost is starting to smell, it usually means that you don't have the right ratio of nitrogen to carbon. Usually if it starts to smell, maybe your nitrogen is really high, you want to put some more carbon, maybe some more wood chips or leaves or different things like that. There's a lot of things that you can get for free. Leaves from neighbors during the fall, some of the sticks on the ground. Bigger branches you can definitely put in there, but they just take a lot longer to break down. They're probably not going to break down over a couple months. That's going to be something that's going to be a lot longer than that. That's why I usually put the big branches in the bottom of my garden beds. If you've seen me do some other videos, I'll probably do something on that later on, how I fill up those beds with those type of items. But that just gives you an idea of some of the layering that you can do there. What can you compost? Some of the items that you can compost, again, we talked about grass clippings, leaves, wood chips. You can do newspapers or any kind of paper that's like non-glossy paper. If you have any doubt about what kind of paper it is, then just don't use it. I do tend to put other types of paper items. You can do paper plates that aren't glossy. You can do paper towels, but any type of paper items are good for that. Again, nitrogen type items, I like to do eggshells. I think eggshells have been a little bit controversial, but I tend to do those anyway. I do any kind of vegetable matter, kitchen scraps. You can do banana peels. I do my coffee grounds every morning. I just dump that in there. And then I empty that out maybe like every couple days. You can empty that out every day, but I just like to, you know, when it starts to get a little bit fuller in my compost bin that I keep inside, then I come out here and I just dump that in here and put wood chips over top of it. Other types of items that you can compost are going to be some of your farm animal manures. So you can put horse compost in here, horse manure in here. Again, that's going to take a little bit longer to break down. Chicken manure, if you got sheep or anything else like that, you can put that in here. The only thing that they don't recommend is any type of like pet manure. So dogs, cats, you don't want to put anything like that in here. Rabbit manure is really good to do. We just got some rabbits, so that is a slow nitrogen breakdown manure, so that we put that in here as well. You can compost any of that. Okay, I just touched on some of the things that you can't compost. Again, you don't want to compost any kind of dog manure. You don't want to compost any type of meat. That one's a little bit different for me. I mean, if I have in my other compost pile, that is a long-term compost pile. If I have like, let's say I had a predator that got some chickens or something like that, I have disposed of carcasses in the compost pile over there, but that's going to be a longer-term compost pile. But normally they don't recommend putting any type of meat products or fish products, just because I think that's going to attract predators to the smell more, and they're going to get into your compost and kind of mess with it. Other things are things like fats, rices, breads, those sort of things you don't want to compost. So this one's not as full right now because we just emptied it for the spring, but you can see we just took 4 sides of our pallets here and then just tied those with some hay string. And I already have some of my kitchen compost in here, and I just put some wood chips on top of that just to kind of, you know, get that breakdown to start. It's already been raining here a lot, so that's already started to break down with a lot of the rain that we've had. I put leaves in here, all kinds of items, anything that I can find. And a lot of times you want to stack this up really high because it's going to sink really quickly anyway. So what are some of the things that you can use to compost your kitchen scraps and different things inside that you can use to catch that and then use it for outside? So when I first started composting, I just used like a little small bucket like this, and they come with these little snap lids that come on them. You can get these at like any hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, anything like that for a couple bucks. This was really easy. Anything that you do compost that does have a top that can't kind of breathe, it is going to get stinkier faster, so you're probably going to have to empty these more, like a lot sooner than you would some of the other ones that you can find. They do sell a lot of fancier ones on Amazon that can be countertop ones. Those are good too because they're convenient, they're right there. I just try to see what I already have. Currently I am using, we had a second diaper pail that we never used, and I'm currently actually using that. I just fill it up with a plastic bag, a leftover plastic bag. I put all my items in there from the kitchen, coffee grounds, vegetable scraps, all that. And then I take that out to the compost pile, I dump that out, and then I just roll the bag up and I put that part in the trash. So anything you can find that's convenient for you to use in your kitchen for a compost bin, it's really, I mean, you can use anything. I would recommend something that was plastic. or stainless steel. It's just easier to clean after you've dumped the items into the compost bin. Again, after my compost is done, usually by 4 to 5, maybe 6 months, depending on your area, if it's really wet or not, or how often you're going to be watering it, we then are able to flip it. We usually flip it halfway through the process just to kind of aerate the bottom, get the air in there so that the bacteria starts to react a little bit more. And then once that's all done, we can go ahead and apply that on our gardens in the spring. We usually do a couple inches on all of our garden beds just to add some good nutrients and things in there while we're planting. And it really has helped to kind of cut down on the soil that I need to buy from the store. So this is just a great way for you to reuse items, whether it's on your farm, maybe you live in a small neighborhood and you have a backyard you want to do this in. Really, anybody can do it anywhere. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, as well as consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. That does tell you when I'm uploading some new videos. And I appreciate you guys coming today, and stay tuned for some more videos. We'll see you guys again next time.